A U.S. federal appeals court has reinstated Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs just a day after a lower court had blocked them. That means the U.S. will continue to collect its tariffs on Canadian goods that are tied to border security. Meanwhile, a member of the Trump administration has indicated that it will carry out its tariff strategy regardless of any legal challenge.
What the Court of Appeal did is it has not concluded that the trade tribunal was incorrect. What it has done is it has said we're going to hold on this decision and we're going to allow both parties to argue their case in court. If they didn't stay the decision, the result would have been the importers in the United States would have had to had a refund of the tariffs that they had paid, and the tariffs would have to halt immediately, those two types of tariffs that were subject to the decision. The fentanyl, quote unquote, tariffs are the tariffs that were enacted under this legislation, as well as the more global tariffs that were enacted on so-called Liberation Day. What the International Trade Court said effectively was the decision-making of the president didn't satisfy them in terms of demonstrating that there was a true emergency. There isn't really any data to substantiate the argument that fentanyl exports from Canada imported into the United States were constituting a national emergency. It's not possible for the Canadian economy and for the relationship between the CUSMA countries, Canada, United States, and Mexico, to carry on in this way as if a trade agreement between the three countries didn't exist. It's not lawful under the treaty, and it's just not practical from an economic and socio-political perspective. Where we need to prioritize this is the negotiations to the extent that we can push them through with the Trump administration. We need a negotiated settlement. As Prime Minister Carney has indicated, we also need to very, very swiftly and deeply ensure that we are diversifying our economic methodologies and our economic relationships with other like-minded countries. The markets, understandably, still have not gotten used to the onboarding of tariffs and then the offboarding of tariffs. It is very difficult, of course, for investors, consumers, for businesses cross-border to determine whether their investments and their purchasing power is going to be impacted continually over the next several months. Suffice it to say that it is not a surprise that the Trump administration appealed the order of the international trade judges in the United States, and one would expect these appeals will probably go all the way to the Supreme Court.